righty, good morning, everybody. Why don't we get started? Welcome to the Mesa City Council study session for January 18th, 2024. Mayor Giles is attending the U.S. Conference of Mayors in Washington, D.C., so he's excused from this meeting. And we also have Councilmember Goforth on the line. Councilmember Goforth?
Yep, I'm here.
Perfect. And the rest are here in the chamber. So first item is to review the agenda we have for our Monday meeting. Let's go through the agenda. Any questions and council members? I know we have item 5B, Mr. Brady.
Yes, if members of council that were at the governor's breakfast, there was that question about WIFA. What does a WIFA do? And she deferred the question. But we have a presentation on what WIFA is doing for the city of Mesa. So if we could have staff come forward on 5B, this is a good opportunity for the city. Haley and Laura.
And WIFA is the Water Infrastructure Finance Authority of Arizona.
There you go.
Yep. All right.
So good morning, Council. My name is Lauren Whitaker. I am the Sustainability Program Supervisor for the Environmental and Sustainability Department. And I have with me Haley Smith. She's the Management Assistant 2 with Parks, Recreation, and Community Facilities. So we did apply for a grant opportunity last year and were awarded it. I'm going to give you a little background about the grant, and then Haley will tell you more about the project itself. So the Water Conservation Grant Fund was created in 2022 with $200 million in ARPA funding. It's administered by WIFA, so that's the Water Infrastructure Finance Authority. Historically, WIFA has done revolving loans, but this is specifically a grant of up to $3 million with a 25% total project cost match required. So on the right-hand side of the slide, you'll see a map of awards as of December. So it's specifically to target water conservation projects and programs throughout the state of Arizona.
Good morning, Vice Mayor Heredia and Council. So for this project, we're going to be removing non-functional turf at some of our parks. As it sounds, non-functional turf is mowed grass that is not currently used for any type of recreational purpose or community event. And we've included a before and after picture on the slide. So you'll see on the left-hand side, the turf goes directly up against the infrastructure at the park, which in this case is a block wall. And then on the right, the after picture demonstrates the concept of this project, which will be to remove about a 6-foot strip of turf along the barrier of our parks and replace that turf with granite and cement curbing. We plan to do this at about 54 park locations, and the turf removal will amount to about 5 acres. And we do have a slide that we'll show in a second with a map with locations of where these conversions will occur. But first, I want to talk about the benefits. One of the most important benefits is water savings. We expect to save over 5 million gallons of water annually with this turf conversion project, which directly aligns with the city's climate action plan goals and its commitment to water stewardship and reducing water usage. We also expect a reduction in irrigation and mowing maintenance, and the city also anticipates a reduction in complaints and damages to infrastructure. On the map here, you'll see the locations are marked with a yellow star, and you'll also notice that all of the locations are to the east of the Eastern Canal, and that's because these locations primarily use Colorado River water in their irrigation, which is the water source that this WIFA program is targeting.
So the grant application was reviewed in August of 2023 and then subsequently approved by the WIFA board in September of 2023. We now have the application. So if directed, we can execute the agreement. The timeline we're looking at is procuring services. So we would start these conversions sometime around summer, like July of 2024, and then complete all of the parks by February of 2026. Our grant amount that we were awarded is around, or just over $1 million. So we are matching the funds with 25% total project cost match with parks operating expenses for a total project cost of around $1.4 million. And then we're happy to take any questions that you may have.
Councilmember Summers.
So have we put together what the measurable reduction in water use will be for each one of these projects?
Yes, so we're looking at the 5.75 million gallons
Gallons of water?
of water, so it's around 17 acre feet
Okay. And then
annually.
And then this cost is going to include moving the sprinkler system so that they're not over, because if it's overspraying on these same areas, then it doesn't do us any good.
Correct. Yes, we will be relocating sprinkler heads if necessary.
Okay, how often are we going to measure this once we going to be able to report back to council that a reduction in water?
Sure.
Okay. I'm just interested in seeing that, to make sure that we're actually obtaining the goals of the program.
Absolutely.
All right.
That'll probably be a couple of years from now.
Councilmember Freeman.
Yeah, well, thank you for the presentation, because I had some questions as I read through it and made some notes on it. But on slide 3, just in observation, the masonry fences around some of the retention basins have received damage over the years from, as you know, the sprinkler systems in the parks. And so this will help reduce that in the future. And the synthetic material, is it typically going to go around the outside perimeter of these proposed parks and basins? Or is it going to be in play areas or just on the outside?
The granite.
Yeah, the granite will just be on the exterior.
Oh, so we're just doing the granite
Yeah.
with the
Correct.
synthetic material or not? No synthetic material?
You just said, yeah, it's just, I think it's just
It's-
DG that you're putting around the edges, right?
Okay,
Correct.
just the DG, okay. For some reason, when I was reading it, that there could be some of the synthetic material, non-functional turf removal.
So the turf is non-functional because it's just
Not
really a
Okay.
border.
Well, regardless, this will help reduce the impact to the
No.
neighborhoods.
Yeah,
Yes.
Councilman Freeman, that's a really, I mean, this is great for conservation, but I mean, as some of you know, we've had a lot of complaints with the water hitting up against some of these walls and it impacts
Exactly.
neighbors on the other side, so.
Mr. Smith and I have had numerous conversations
So,
on that.
we have a few of those around the city, so this
Sure.
is gonna help mitigate that.
Good, very good. Well, I think it's, 17 acre feet in my farming life is not a whole lot of water, but however, every drop of water counts. 17 acre feet is important in conservation, so yeah, I'm all in on that. So thank you for doing that, Andrea and the team and all of you. And even applying for the grant, getting the grant. I mean, $1 million plus, and plus our 25% on top of that. So let's make it happen. But I think you're telling us June and July or August to do the work. That's kind of the hottest time of the year to do it for workers. So are we doing it in-house work, or are we going to do a contractor, third party?
We anticipate, Councilmember Freeman, we anticipate doing a third-party
Okay.
contract.
All right. Thank you. That's all I have.
Councilmember Spilsbury.
Hi, thank you. Is the curb just for aesthetics? Is there any function to the curb?
The curb is, it'll help with landscaping and just maintaining that boundary around all of our basins. So that's really the purpose of the curb, is just to maintain that boundary and to make lawn mowing easier as well, so that the lawnmower is not going directly into granite when they're trying to mow.
Okay, so then it just kind of creates a walkway, like a path, right? Like people
It
will
could be used
probably
that
use
way.
this for a walking path, I'm assuming.
Councilmember Spilsbury, it could be used that way, but these will not be maintained as walking paths, and they are not intended to be walking paths, but it could be used that
But
way.
you could walk on it.
Yes.
I feel like people already use that area as a walking path, so. And then, I can't tell from the first picture, but are some of these retention basins the ones that have sloped edges too?
Yes.
So are we just doing this like are we making the top flat to do you know what I mean? Where it has like
I'm
a-
sure that some of these, you'll still have that angle, but it'll just be, the DG now with the.
So even
the
if
ribbon
there's an
curve.
angle, there will be the.
Yeah, I don't know that we can
Yes.
change the topography of the park
Right,
significantly.
okay, that was my question.
Correct.
'cause
Because
I-
some of these
Promote
parks
the
serve as
drainage.
basins, right? They're retention
Yes.
basins for stormwater anyway.
Probably a lot of them will be
Yeah.
that. Okay, all right, and we don't have that map. Can we get a copy of the map? A lot of those are in my district. I would just be curious where they're gonna be.
Absolutely, yes,
Okay,
we
good.
do have a PDF copy that we can provide.
Great, thank you so much. Okay.
Julie, I think too, the curbing has helped direct the sprinkler systems away from the masonry fences and things. I know in talking to Andrea, that was one of the goals, is to help minimize the damage to our fences in our
Okay.
neighborhoods.
And that's a good perimeter to move them over. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Councilmember Duff?
Looking at the picture, the one prior that we looked at with the curbing, it looks like in the one that is done, I swear that looks like someone has been using it as a bike, or, you know, bikes have been going just because of the, you know, the way that someone, is there any consideration on using it as a bike path through the park, or connecting it from the street to inside the park? And I don't know if compressing the granite would make sense or not. I know that's an extra cost.
Councilmember Duff, I'm not aware of plans to promote using it as a bike path, but that's certainly something that we can talk about and look at.
Yeah, I don't know officially we're going to designate that as
Not
that
a bike
purpose.
path, but I think
Yeah.
people will use it whether we designate it or not.
Just like, I
So-
think people will
Right.
be walking their dogs there too.
Right, right. So being more accessible from the sidewalk or wherever the park starts or from and everything,
I
to
think
have
the
it open to,
Caution we have is if we officially endorse that, again, we're pushing up, people are going to do it anyway, but if we're officially doing it, it will be, we have this challenge already of inviting people right up next to privacy walls.
okay.
And then we get complaints from the neighbors
Okay.
that we're infringing on their privacy. It'll happen, kind of when we endorse it with an official lane, it becomes, you know, it's a different level of scrutiny from those neighbors that feel like we are inviting people into their backyard.
Okay.
And I know we've had that on just other trails too, where we've had to try to manage that. But
Right.
I think it'll get used regardless that way,
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Okay, thanks.
I do have a question that it's kind of not in the parks, but I know we have similar on streets, green path, like in medians and along sidewalks. We do have quite a bit of grass that maybe is non-functional now, and it, you know, sometimes, yeah, it has the same issues as ruining people's walls, and we get complaints, or mediums, like the sprinklers just spray all over the roads, and I know I have various different spots in my district. Is there a plan similar to this on the street side to,
I know that transportation's
those.
looked at medians and other right-of-ways that we're responsible for maintaining. And I think as we go through and over time, we have been changing those out to xeriscape and making, so they're easy to maintain. We're not having to worry about the irrigation systems now. And I think if you see the new medians we put in, they look like that,
Yeah.
right? The newer medians. So I think it's just, and that's something maybe we can pay attention more to about kind of like identifying to the council those areas specifically that we're targeting to do that. But you're right, there are areas across the city where it would be good to address that, and the non-functional turf in those
non-functional
medians.
turf? Yeah. Perfect. Well, thank you. I don't appreciate it. Thank you for the presentation. Any other questions? All right, we'll move on. Is there any other questions on the agenda? Councilmember Freeman?
I do, thank you, Vice Mayor. I wanted to give a shout out. I was looking at 4B, our EOD robot replacement, and we have an 18-year veteran on that robot that we've been using for 18 years, and so now we're getting a new one, and I thought that was pretty phenomenal. I don't know if Lieutenant Red Wing's here, but hi. I just wanted to make a comment. That's a badge of honor for that robot to be around for 18 years.
He's almost got his 20 years.
Yeah, I know. You almost get,
Almost benefits.
Mr. Brady, have you given him the 15-year employee award?
When he gets to 20, I'll give him a
Okay.
service award.
My question was, are you going to keep it around for, training or for
That I
backup
don't
in case
know.
the other one? I know that probably not in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, that's.
Is it going to be retired, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. I just thought, keeping a robot for 18 years, think of the technology
Yeah.
18 years ago and compared today.
Just
I
don't
thought-
build them like they used to. That's probably for a bomb robot.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
anyway, I thought that was something that we should know. And then this robot helps multi-agencies. It's just not Mesa, it's all our other agencies around us. So with that, thank you. That's all the comments. I have.
Perfect. Any other item? I do have on 4G, the bins, roll-off containers. I know just a question, I know we partnered before with EVID, and I'm not sure if we partner with Westwood and other CTE schools with
The welding.
their welding departments to help us, not only for them to learn with a product, but also help us refurbish some of the solid waste bins, the large metal containers. I don't know if we have that program going on, or what's the conversations with those schools that have
Yes.
welding schools?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Vice Mayor, Council, yes, we have partnered with EVIT, but we have not reached out to the high schools. So that is a good idea and something that we can definitely incorporate. It's a good program for the kids. Even my daughter has some students she's gone to school with, and so I was able to, of course, have a conversation about trash dumpsters with them, which I was excited about.
Sure, that's great.
But that is definitely something we can look into.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know Westwood has a welding program, and
Red Mountain.
Mesa High, Red Mountain, right?
Yeah.
So, okay,
Yeah, thank you.
perfect. Any other questions on the agenda? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to item 2. 2A is a presentation on a new city program for community cleanup. So we have Sherry and Cynthia. Welcome, good morning.
Okay, good morning, Vice Mayor, Council. I'm Sherry Collins, the Solid Waste Director, and with me I have Cynthia Escura, Community Engagement Supervisor with Community Services, and we're here to give you an update on our future community cleanup program. So before I get into that, I just want to give you an update on some of the programs that we do currently offer. So currently, Solid Waste offers the Neighborhood Cleanup Program. This is a program, it's an application-based program. The community can apply for this program once per 12 months. When they apply for it, it affords them those big roll-off dumpsters in their community for their community to use. This is a very popular program with long wait times. The next program that we have is with Code Compliance. They have team up cleanup events. So these are different than the application-based program, and where they're one-day events, and Code has 6 of them per year, 3 in the spring and 3 in the fall. These are staffed by Code Compliance, so on these events, they have 6 or 8 code staff out there staffing these events. And the way that Code determines the neighborhoods is if the code officers are having a high number of violations or just neighborhoods that they notice will need these or they're visiting frequently, they'll choose these neighborhoods. So now talking about the future community cleanup program. So this is an expansion to those current programs. During the last budget cycle, we brought this to you and you approved this. And so we've been working on how we're going to implement this program. So that's what we want to go over with you today. So we've done some work and still need to do some work. So some of the things that we've done is work on securing the equipment and the personnel for this program. And then we needed to look at what our prioritization was for this program, how we were going to determine the neighborhoods that receive these services. And then working on the marketing program and coming up with drafts for that. We'll need to engage our neighborhoods. We'll need to roll out the program and then continue to collect the data and analyze it to ensure its success. So as far as the equipment and the personnel, we worked on securing the solid waste truck to run these community cleanup roll-off boxes. That's very important. We need to make sure to get that truck in. We have secured the new containers. I'm very excited. They're this bright yellow. So they're branded a different color than the white community cleanup roll-offs that are out there now. We wanted to make it different and really stand out. We branded a new logo on there. As you can see right here, we provided a picture for you. In addition to that, we need the staffing to support this program. So recruiting a solid waste equipment operator and recruiting a program assistant through community services. That program assistant will serve as a liaison to the community, be able to answer their questions and get in the community and work with them on these roll-off dumpsters. And now I'm going to turn it over to Cynthia to go over some of the other information.
Good morning, Vice Mayor, council members. I will be talking about the community cleanup program and also the placement of the containers. With this program, we're going to start in areas that have not participated in the neighborhood cleanup program for the last 5 years. We will start with low to moderate income areas and older neighborhoods. Because community engagement has worked with neighborhoods, we will be able to identify neighborhoods that we feel that would be a great fit for this program. We also are looking at expanding the program, but first we'll need time. In order to expand the program, we're going to need equipment, we're going to need staff. But because this program is going out into neighborhoods that have never had clean sweep or maybe once in the past, we want to make sure that this program is successful. We want to make sure that the residents understand the program, the containers don't get overloaded. We will be monitoring the containers as we move them through neighborhoods, but we want to ensure that it's successful, that the program runs smoothly and efficiently. And in order to know where we're going to place the containers, we needed to know where the neighborhood cleanup program has been. So this map here, the red dots are where the neighborhood cleanup program have been for the last 5 years. This is going to help us be intentional on where we place the container in neighborhoods. When you zoom into this map, you can really get a granular view of where the containers have been before, but you can also see on this map where they have not been. This is going to help us as we determine where we place the containers. Once again, community engagement, we'll be able to identify areas in these low to moderate income areas, older neighborhoods, neighborhoods that we think, wow, they've never had one. Let's go ahead and put one in this particular neighborhood. One of the things that we're excited about is when we started adding the data to this map, we were able to layer. So what you see here is the blue outline tells us the low to moderate income areas. As we zoom in, we will be able to schedule these out and work closely with solid waste and making sure that we start in the areas that we mentioned, the older neighborhoods, low to moderate income areas, and then move from there. The neighborhood selected will receive a postcard in advance in order to prepare for when the containers come on their street. On the postcard, there will have a date. There's a phone number that they can call us with any question. The postcard will be in English and Spanish, and there's a QR code that takes them to a website. On that website, it explains what the program is about. It also talks about other alternatives. For instance, they might have tires, they might have paint, they may not know where to take that. There's a drop down that talks about the household hazardous waste facility. It has the location of that, the hours of operation. It also, in bold, we make sure that they understand what is not allowed to go into the container. So we want to make sure that everyone in the neighborhood is able to utilize the container. If we receive a call from anyone that has any limitations, we will work with that person on a case-to-case basis. But the whole purpose of the program is to make sure that the neighbors are engaged, they understand the program, they don't get overloaded, and that everyone is able to utilize the containers. So as a reminder, we are going to focus on neighborhoods that have not participated for the last 5 years in the neighborhood cleanup program. We are looking at expanding the program over a citywide implementation, but we're going to need staff, we're going to need equipment. We plan on launching this in spring of 2024. We will make sure that you are informed of the date and the locations where they're going out in neighborhoods. We have worked hard on this program over the last several years, so the collaboration between community engagement and solid waste, bringing in the knowledge, the experience, and the creativity that we actually put into this is really going to be a great program and a resource for our neighborhoods. So we're excited to roll this out. Any questions?
All right, Councilmember Spilsbury.
I love this, as I'm sure you know, and I love the logo, it's so cute. So whoever did that, kudos. I'm a big believer in clean, safe neighborhoods, make a huge difference in a kid's life, and in the neighborhood, just having it clean makes such a big difference. And so I'm super excited about this. Does this replace our current community cleanup efforts?
Vice Mayor, Councilmember Spilsbury, no, it does not. So we'll continue the other programs. This is just the start to an expansion of our current programs.
Okay.
Again, in the future, looking to go citywide with it.
So still, if a neighborhood wanted to have the dumpster come out, they would go through the same process, and it would be one of the white ones?
At this
probably
time,
then.
yes.
Okay. So, and then I know with code compliance and like the neighborhoods that they target, and that program's also still continuing then with the same?
Correct.
So we're not changing any of that?
This is supplemental.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah, and we'll be, yes, and we'll be working with code compliance as well, and speaking with them. They're also excited about this program. And so keeping them informed of the neighborhoods we're in, just so that they're aware and they can continue to monitor those code violations based on when we're putting those
Okay.
dumpsters in.
And I know a nearby city that's much smaller has just a scheduled dumpster for their neighborhoods. So we're still not to the point where we could do that for our city, correct?
So.
Just how big we are?
Yeah, and yes, correct. We have looked into that. It is a large investment. It takes a crew of 35 to 40 employees, the way, if we compare city size to city size. We've done a lot of research on that. In addition to the initial implementation is multiple millions of dollars with multiple large pieces of equipment.
Sherry, what was the recommendation from that city about doing their program?
Thank you. The recommendation from that city is don't do it. How do we do it like you?
Okay.
We have gotten that question from multiple cities. I was just on a meeting with all the directors from around the valley, and they're very jealous of us, the way that we do it. So this was an expansion of our current program.
Perfect. I mean, and I just hear that from residents. Well, so, this place does it, so why can't we do it? So, but we also have 140 square miles, whatever, so a totally different beast. But, so the rollout, obviously, you're going to hit the people who haven't participated in 5 years and older neighborhoods. But as we move forward, then
This is the initial.
would the phase after that be to just try to hit every neighborhood, or to still focus on the ones that are maybe in need?
I think what we're going to do is we're going to start, like I said, in those low to moderate income areas and other parts of Mesa too. But we do eventually want to roll this into all neighborhoods. It's really introducing the program. The Neighborhood Clean Sweep program is very popular. This is what we hear from residents who use it continuously. So this will go out to neighborhoods that don't know about the program.
Okay.
So a lot of it is education, because we don't want the containers to be contaminated. We don't want them to get overloaded.
Right.
We want to make sure that everybody's uses the program. This is a great way to engage residents, and it's a great way for them to meet neighbors.
Yeah.
So yeah, eventually we will combine the two programs, and then it'll
Okay.
just start rolling.
Yeah, but that's Cynthia's point, right on point, is ultimately, council, our goal, if resources weren't a limitation, we would create a program where we'd be rolling these containers out, every year or every 2 years throughout the city to different neighborhoods, so they'd have that opportunity. But just with the resources and the impact on the solid waste fee, we've and this is general fund, let me be clear of that, this is general fund supported, but again,
Okay.
it's the cost of doing that. But we do think it's an opportunity to start rolling this out across the city, keeping those other programs in place. Eventually, someday, hopefully in the near future, we would then be able to combine all these programs together and then kind of have a citywide program where we're rolling through the city on some time frame. I don't know how, is that every year? Is that every 2 years? Because this is when we show up with these bins, it's a big deal. It's more than just what somebody's putting on their curb. This is
Right.
a lot of stuff, so.
Right. Yeah, no, I residents love when they have one of these in their neighborhood, so it's great. Thank you so much for the work you've done on this. I love it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Councilmember.
Yes, Mayor, I have a question.
Oh,
Sorry.
Go for it. Yeah, go ahead.
How long will it stay? Will each container stay in each neighborhood? And how many containers, remind me, how many containers we have in this program?
The program is going to run Monday through Friday. We're going to be placing 4 containers out at a time. Eventually, like I said, we're going to expand the program, but this is how we're going to start.
4 containers in 4 different neighborhoods?
4 containers on a street, and then they will be moved.
Oh.
Yeah, so we will be placing the container on a Monday and then moving them out on a Thursday or Friday. And then they will go again on a Monday to another neighborhood or the next street over, depending on, once we start scheduling this, we will make sure that you're informed so you'll know where they go.
Date on the
Great, thank you.
postcard then say the start and end date?
Yes.
Like it has the time period, okay.
All right, Councilmember Duff.
So I'm still unclear, how many containers are we increasing on the, 4? Is this program, how many containers do we currently use for the program, and how many containers are we adding to the
What's your
program?
total?
Yep.
You combine everything.
Vice Mayor, Councilmember Duff, so currently we have about a little over 2,000, so 2,200 containers in the community through our neighborhood cleanup program.
Oh, really? Wow.
The reason we're taking a different approach with this one is because those have applicants that apply and more of an ownership to it. The code compliance events also have ownership to them with code compliance staffing the events, and again, they're only 6 a year. So we wanted to take a different approach with this because we need to learn the behaviors of the community. We've also installed some, I guess, infrared or some bin level monitors or roll-off level monitors, so we're able to monitor them remotely from our computer, as well as we'll have staff out in the field to monitor these. And so rather than putting 2,200 containers out there and not knowing the behavior of the community, not having a representative, so to say, with an applicant, we wanted to make sure that we took a very cautious approach to this so we do not end up with multiple overloaded containers just sitting out there for days, and then we get into a situation where we don't have the staffing to clean it up. And so we're starting very monitored, and that's why we're putting 4 out there, and then we'll remove them, put them back out there. So we just need to learn the behavior of the communities.
Okay, so these yellow containers that we're looking at right now is 4 of them.
Correct.
And then learning from that before you increase the program?
Correct.
Okay. So we got 2,200 out there, and we're starting this new program with these yellow ones that are monitored.
Correct.
And learning, and then they'll be done, okay. So how far, we're out quite a ways. I don't know, I have neighborhoods who use them regularly in the low income, and they complain of the wait time. And I don't know, it is also because of our demand, we only can allow a neighborhood to have it once every so often in order to satisfy the other. Do we have a backup of requests overall?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we
On the
do.
application one?
Yes, I want to say it's around 9 months. So we know that we need to do something, and this is a start to expanding that so that we can do something else to where it's just on a regular basis in the future.
And Sherry, then that program is specifically, there's a fee that's kind of embedded in the solid waste fee that everybody pays that goes to support that.
Okay.
This program, we've allocated specifically to community services that's general fund supported. So we're maybe a little more modest as we pilot program that. Now, eventually, we'd like to figure out how to combine everything and put everybody on the whole city, right? If you can see, I don't know how many times we get to put out under the current program, how many times that is, but there's a big gap from us being able to do this like every year or every 2 years for the city, but that's what we're trying to grow to with all these programs.
Great, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Summers?
We have an agreement, right, with Republic Services that you can bring a a water bill, show up at their service and dump at their site, right?
Correct.
Is the one in Southeast Mesa the only location, or are there others?
We have an agreement with that location as well as Salt River Landfill.
Salt River Landfill.
Correct.
So it's, well, it's really convenient for me, because I've used it already post-Christmas and had the opportunity to go in there and do the dump there. But there are some options if you have a truck that you can take your stuff there. And they told me once a month, it's free, just bring your water bill, and there's a wait. So there are some other options. I just had a comment on this. I like the program, very useful. We've done similar things in the past, and they've been very successful, so I'm excited for this. The parameters of this particular program don't feed well into my district, with the exception of maybe one or two small areas. And what I noticed is that they've had dumpsters in the past based on the red dots. So if we could have maybe just a little bit of leeway for my district as we roll this out citywide, to even if they've had a dumpster recently, certainly fulfill the needs of the areas that haven't had them before, but maybe go back into this into the areas that could use it in my district. It'd be great.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Freeman?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. You know, I look at this program as a tactical or sector. You have different sectors. You have your neighborhood cleanup, you have your code compliance, and this new programming. And so eventually, to Mr. Brady's point, they'll all merge together, I think, at some point. And I appreciate the funding mechanism. I know that is our solid waste bill currently include funding for the neighborhood cleanup program? Is that where we get funding from, or is it from the general fund?
Yes, sir. It includes a line item on there. It's 53 cents per month.
53 cents, okay, great. The other comment, I know, Sherry, you and I have talked about some neighborhoods on the neighborhood cleanup program. There's been a disconnect in scheduling and getting neighborhoods their dates assigned for their cleanup. Will this help facilitate that? I mean, and help streamline connectivity, or is this going right from like Cynthia's group to your group in scheduling low-income, moderate neighborhoods?
Yeah, Councilmember Freeman, this is a separate program, and we have worked internally to streamline those processes for communication on the neighborhood cleanup on that program, but this program will be separate.
Okay, very good. And if there's an opportunity, can council members work with their district coordinators to help, work with you and help some of these neighborhoods in our areas to get cleanup? Because I think it's important for us to uplift and help them know that you have council members that are, advocating for you and clean up our city.
Yeah, once we identify the areas, we'll certainly be contacting the council members and your district coordinators to work with us to get the word out. But again, the first criteria, and this is how we launch it. This is not where it's always going to be. We're going to launch it in those areas because this is the premise that we had for when the council asked us to look at this, was the low-income areas that don't always have the opportunity, maybe don't have the vehicles to take to the landfills, and there's a need for, because they're older, maybe there's been more accumulation of stuff. And so we identified that first. Now, so we'll look at it both from the low to moderate income areas that haven't had it in 5 years, and operationally what works well for Sherry's folks, right? So there's a combination of things that, we don't want to get too spread out because then she's having to drivers move all over. But eventually the idea is we move across the city. So at some point you get out, move past the low and moderate income, and you're continuing through all of the city. So this is just where we start from. We are not going to just stay in those areas. So eventually we'll move across the city. Hopefully over time, as budgets will allow, we'll continue to expand this. We need to expand these programs in order to be successful, or at least to allow for this a citywide approach at some time in the future. So hopefully every year or so we'll be coming to council and trying to expand these programs so we can get to a point where everybody's on a schedule. And I don't know what that schedule, I'm not going to suggest what that schedule is, but there's that you're going to get these containers coming around to every neighborhood at some point across the city.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilmember Duff?
In addition to the containers and such, we still have the pickup program, right? If a resident has
What's the pay?
a couch they want to get rid of or whatever, a curbside pickup, we still have that
Correct.
program.
We still have a bulk item pickup,
Yeah,
and we
bulk
also
item.
have an appliance pickup, and they're
Okay.
on demand, so they can just call and schedule those.
Okay, and there's a fee for that, right? $20, $30?
Correct. The bulk item is 29, and the
Okay.
appliances, I think it's 19. Sorry, I don't remember off the top of my head, but I think it's around 19.
Okay.
And Councilmember Duff, on that website for the community cleanup program, it has all that listed as well, too. So somebody's out of town, they're not there, there's other alternatives where they could use.
Yeah. And a related topic, it's related, but I know it's not on our agenda, but I would like to consider somehow CDGB dollars, general fund dollars, that we have some kind of fund. We have a lot of homes that are code compliance issues and that are low income. The house needs painted and there's no way they have the money. Our tree needs to be removed. There's no way they have their code compliance problems that the resident isn't able to tackle financially. And you get cited, what do we do? And maybe establishing a fund to help those who qualify. So that was just a comment on the side. Thank you.
Yeah, I got a
All
side
right.
comment too.
Councilmember Freeman?
So I have a side comment too, thank you. When we had our monsoons, and I know we've talked about this, we had wide damage throughout our cities. And then I know Kenneth and I have talked about this, but deploying dumpsters in our neighborhoods to help facilitate cleanup. And, that's safety for our residents and our streets and everything that we do. So is there a consideration, you're working on that programming?
Yes, Councilmember Freeman, that will be part of this as well.
Okay.
We will
We'll
provide
figure
these for
that out,
some
but we have to be
Yeah.
sensitive to these folks been waiting 9 months for their dumpsters too. So it's kind of this balance of, we can do that to a point, but we don't, where do we prioritize that? But we'll certainly look at how to address that. But again, the challenge is we have such a huge demand for this, and if that's the week that somebody's expecting their roll-offs, and they've been waiting 9 months, we have to figure out how to balance all that out.
Well, I'm thinking too, if we have damage from a storm, that kind of takes priority until we get back to them. And I think they'd understand that, hey, we've got damage in an area and we need to get it taken care of, and then you'll get your dumpster, but it might be a week or two delayed.
Yeah.
But thank you for doing that.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Councilmember Summers? Comment?
I just wanted to, because Councilmember Duff's question, is that related to item 5C on the agenda? Because there's an annual action plan for housing rehabilitation funded through HUD and CDBG dollars, and we're looking to reallocate $3.75 million.
Right, no.
Is what you're talking about different than
This is having to move dollars that are not being spent to areas that will be able to spend the money in order to meet our spend down ratio. If the council is asking for a priority of allocating future CDBG dollars to support programs like this, or support programs not like this, it was painting homes, we would have to first figure out if it's eligible, who's going to do the work. But we're right in the middle of that CDBG process now. So those applications, I think, are in or coming in, or
The process is closed for this.
yeah. So I don't know. We might have missed this window.
But there is a housing rehab program,
Rehab,
right?
but that's
Right.
like, that's
Yeah.
like improvements, right,
Improvements.
for ADA access. But it's an interesting idea. It's something we need to figure out how we could do. It's more of aesthetics. When we can do rehabs, we can replace air conditioners, we can put up ADA ramps, we can
Plumbing,
do
electrical, all that.
things like that. But I don't know that we've ever thought about,
Aesthetic.
Except
landscaping.
we do have some sort of program, I remember, with neighborhood services, because if a neighborhood says, we have this elderly couple that needs their house painted, the neighborhood provides the workers, and the city will come and provide paint or paintbrushes or rakes if it's a raking job, or we have something like that.
Councilmember Spilsbury, we have our Neighbors Helping Neighbors program where we have applicants fill out, and a lot of them too come from code compliance. We'll say, hey, we're going to recommend this resident doesn't have any way to, clean the backyard or remove brush in the front yard or paint the house. So they'll send them over to us, they fill out the application, and it's a very popular program as well. And then we line up those applications with volunteers.
Yeah.
And so we bring out volunteers, we use the paint reuse program, and sometimes the volunteers that are doing the project, if it's Eagle Scout groups, sometimes they'll go above and beyond and start going out and asking for donation depending on the person. But yes, we do have that
I
program.
was gonna say, because I remember, like, through, when I got on council, I was so excited to hear about that program and the idea of like a neighborhood coming together to help each other. And so, I mean, we do have something that they can work through to figure out how to help their neighbors. It maybe isn't funded as much as we could or something, but that's different than the rehab program. So,
Yes.
anyways.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, exactly. No, I know. Yeah. Working with nonprofits that want to help with service projects. Yeah.
And I understand the rehab program, and correct me if I'm wrong, I know you're not helping. Different department. The rehab on request is like a loan that puts a lien on the title of the home, is that correct? And it's only the emergency that is grant funded or the emergency rehab.
Vice Mayor and Councilmember Duff, yes, so some of the projects that we have, and that's one of the things that are changing in that reallocation, is we have two different programs. One is emergency fixes, it's air conditioning, electric, that type of a thing. Those they don't pay them back. It's not a loan. So it's actually using the CDBG dollars for that. The other one was a loan. It is, and that's one of the things that we were moving over, is that we're not seeing as much of that activity.
Yeah.
And so, but we're seeing a huge increase in emergency
Right.
modifications, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why we're moving that money into there. It's a big spike up.
Yeah.
And we're able to do it on more, we can do mobile homes versus we can't do mobile homes when you're talking about the loans. And so so we have a lot of different programs, as you see, depending on what's going on. We're always looking for the right program for that particular resident and in their situation.
Yeah, so it's one of the reasons I think that rehab isn't as popular is because of the loan aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this new one the reallocation will be the emergency one.
Correct, and we've
Yeah.
always had both programs, it's just how they've been used over time. And so we're seeing more activity now in the emergency, we're marketing it a lot more, we're seeing a lot more of the applications in that side, and we're able to help people right away with emergency repairs to their house.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
Well,
you.
Any other questions, comments? It's very popular.
I have one,
Yeah.
Vice Mayor, I have one question back to the comment that Councilmember Summers made about being able to take large items to the landfill as long as you bring a water bill. Is that something we put in our utility bills to let people know that exists? Do we market that at all?
Vice Mayor, Councilmember Goforth, we do not put it in the utility bill. We have it on our website. It's something that
We could put it on
we could put it in there.
what's the newsletter? The
Open line?
open line. We could
Yeah.
put it in there.
SNL?
We could do that.
I think that might be a good idea. I'm not sure how widely known that is.
Yeah, it's, the parameters of it is 1 haul per month up to a ton, and it's a $15 charge on your utility bill, so they don't require cash at the time. But they'll put it on your utility bill with your ID.
Okay, great. And then just a follow-up question. So for this community cleanup program, we added a solid waste operator and program assistant for this particular program for the 4 additional containers. Is that right?
Correct, in addition to a roll-off truck and containers.
And so we have 2,200 citywide. Is the 9-month delay due to the number? We just don't have enough containers. We don't have enough personnel. I'm just trying to figure out. We have 1 operator per 4 containers. Is that about the ratio? Is that what you're saying?
Vice Mayor,
Can't be.
Councilmember Goforth, so our current program is, we have the fee that we collect at 53 cents. And so that fee, we want to break even with that. We just want to fund the program. So that's what that does. Currently, what we run is 8 containers a day with the neighborhood cleanup program. As I mentioned before, the reason we're starting out with the pilot or the new expansion of this program with only 4 is because we are anticipating heavy use, especially in these areas, low to moderate income, older neighborhoods that haven't had these in 5 years or perhaps even ever. And we're anticipating them to get full, so we wanted to be able to have the staff resources available to be able to empty those if we need to and not leave them on the street overloaded. So it's a different program than the neighborhood cleanup program that we currently have.
But Sherry, clarify, you don't have 2,200 bins sitting out on curbs every day.
Yes, thank you. We do not. It is a daily program where we're setting 8, removing 8, setting 8, removing 8. And so we only have 8 on the street at a time.
But you'll rent out, you'll lease out, we've had contractors use bins, so it's not just for the neighborhoods, it's an enterprise, and you'll contract with contractors to provide the roll-off for their debris and things like that, right?
For our commercial side?
Yes, on the
Correct.
commercial
We also
side.
have the commercial side where we actually charge the customers if they need it for a construction
Right.
projects or something like
Right,
that.
commercial side, yeah.
Correct. Neighborhood cleanup is
Oh, okay.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
Correct.
Different programs.
Yeah.
Thank you for that clarification. So the 22, you don't have 2,200 containers sitting around the city at a time, is what you're saying?
Correct.
Then we could do the whole city.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, that, it seemed like it. I was thinking,
That's and
okay.
I was worried about that.
All right, well, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, Councilmember Goforth, comments? No? All right, well, thank you.
No, that's it.
Presentation. We'll move on to item 3A, is to acknowledge receipts of board minutes. Do I have a motion? Councilmember Spilsbury, second by Councilmember Duff. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 4 is a list of current events and conferences attended. Council members? Julie, all right. Councilmember Spilsbury.
Last weekend was a great weekend full of fun events for the city. The Asian Festival last Friday and Saturday was so fun. A lot of us were there for the program on Saturday and able to get some of the delicious food and walk around to the vendors. And I don't know, do they have a number of how many people came to that? It was
That's
packed.
a lot, yeah. It is both Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
So they had a lot of people on Friday too.
Yeah, it was great. I saw lots of people posting about it. And then, of course, as always, it's so fun that our city hosts the East Valley Martin Luther King Parade that was on Monday. We got to participate in that, and that's just such a great community event to bring people together and focus on unity, and I just loved it. And then tonight, Councilmember Freeman and I have a public meeting for the Central Mesa Reuse Pipeline. It's from 6 to 7 at Stapley Junior High. The construction's beginning in that area soon, and so this is intended for any businesses or residents that live in that area. And you can come out and learn more about the project and ask questions, and you can always go to the mesalistens.com website to find out updates on that project.
Perfect.
And that's it.
All right. Councilmember Summers?
Thank you. I just have a couple of events. First, I attended with Councilmember Freeman a flag retirement ceremony at the American Legion Post 26 here near downtown Mesa. They're undergoing an interesting project where they're taking grommets, melting those down, and they're going to turn those into a bell that will be on display at the state capitol. So that was a very interesting project. Also, they hooked me in. I am their newest member of the American Legion, having served the U.S. Air Force. Yep, they got me. They got me. And then I had the opportunity to speak at Bella Villa, a neighborhood meeting about what's in store for 24. So it's wonderful to have the opportunity to speak at the neighborhoods within our communities. I also want to take the liberty to extend my appreciation, and I'm sure council will join in, to the Mesa Police Department. Anybody that's been paying attention knows there's been a disturbing increase in youth violence over the past few months that led to a death in Queen Creek. It's not often that we could speak to what our police departments are doing, but it is clear that our Mesa Police Department has been involved in trying to stop this violence. And that's evidenced by several arrests that were made over the course of the last week, and they will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. I want to remind everybody that this is a group effort that takes the entire community. Our Mesa Police Department are well-equipped and well-staffed with criminal investigation divisions. We have school resource officers in every high school. The comment, if you see something, say something, does not just stand for terrorism, it stands for every type of crime, including this. We highly encourage people that if they hear of something, if they see something, please reach out to the Mesa Police Department through your SROs or even call the non-emergency line. We have the resources to handle it. So once again, good work by the Mesa Police Department on tackling this issue. Thank you.
Councilmember Duff. Oh,
Did you ask?
I do, but you
Okay.
go, no, ladies
We'll just
first.
finish that side.
This side first?
Yeah.
Councilmember Freeman then.
Okay, will do. You know, Scott, or Councilmember Summers, at the Legion Post, they're taking the brass grommets and they're going to build a bell for the new submarine that's being built for the U.S. Arizona submarine. So they're going to create a bell out of that, and I thought that was interesting. The lion dance at the Asian Festival, I thought was interesting. It kind of spit out lettuce.
Yeah.
And then after the lettuce was spewed out, hey, we want money. So people were putting money into the
dragons. It's
the Year of the Dragon, okay. Lion, but Dragon Dance, okay, I should have said it differently. But then Sunday, I attended the Professional Firefighters Memorial at Wesley Bowen Plaza, and that recognized the line of duty deaths of our Mesa fallen firefighters, as well as all throughout the state. And that included a lot of professional paramedics and others, ambulance personnel. So with that, that's all I have. Thank you.
Councilmember Duff.
Well, it's been a busy week. The Asian Festival was fabulous and at MCC, but I also attended a day with Wally Funk at Falcon Field. And she's 82 years old. She's the oldest woman to go into space. She was the first female investigator for the NTSB, and she's one of the last two living members of the Mercury 13 program. She's quite a character and so full of energy and spunk. It was a great event at Falcon Field, Cunningham Aviation, and the Arizona Association for Historic Preservation, Aviation Association, Historic Preservation were the hosts, so thank you to them. I also, on Sunday, Councilmember Spilsbury joined me at Desert Heritage Church, recognizing Martin Luther King Jr. and his leadership, as well as we have discussions about gun violence in our country. Is a powerful service, so enjoyed that. And that same afternoon, I went to the, I'm going to butcher this, so you're going to have to help me here, Heredia. Cafe Con La Policia?
Con La Policia.
Policia at Iglesia Cristiana El Buen Pastor.
Yeah.
Pretty close. That was a Coffee with a Cop event put on by Fiesta and Central PD, and had community conversations with the Latino community. It was very robust. There's probably 30 members, and it was nonstop Q&A with the police department. It was well received, and it was a great event, so thank you to them. I also met with a Sister Cities group, and we're working on trying to establish a sister city in the UK, taking into consideration the Royal Air Force connection at Falcon Field, and we also have a cemetery plot for the cadets that died during training here. And there's a strong group of people who support the history here, so we're trying to connect that with a sister city in the UK. So we're in the midst of that and trying to get that done. Yesterday, I attended the East Valley Councilmember Quarterly Meeting with Councilmember Goforth, and we discussed recycling, the circular economy, and opioid settlement funds that will be coming to our cities. And then I just want to remind everybody, on Saturday is All-America City Day. The celebration is at the Post at Main and McDonald from 11 to 4. This is to commemorate our being awarded as an All-American City. This past, well, it was last year. It's already 24, and this summer of last summer, and it was with Youth Civic Engagement was our application, performance, and award. We're very proud of that, and you'll be seeing a lot of symbolism throughout the year celebrating it. But come downtown, there'll be a lot of family events, all free. I'm
Week from
sorry,
Saturday.
I'm already at the end of the month. Thank you, the 27th, so that's next week. I'm ahead of myself. Thank you.
All right. I just want to give a shout out. I know the Mesa Convention Center is hosting the Local Government Hispanic Network Conference.
Yes.
Happening now. And Hispanic professionals that work in cities across the country will be touring downtown Mesa and a couple others. City of Mesa well represented, along with other cities in the valley, but also other states. So just a shout out there to have that conference here. It's great to see that. Councilmember Goforth, any?
Nothing to add, thank you.
Nothing? All right, perfect. Well, Mr. Brady, can you share the schedule of future meetings?
Yes, I can. Thank you. We'll have a council meeting Monday, January 22nd at 5:15, a study session followed by a council meeting at 5:45. We will not have a council study session on January 25th. So a week from today, that one has been canceled.
Okay.
So, all right, thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, all right.
So moved.
All right, a motion to adjourn by Councilmember Freeman, second by Councilmember Summers. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.